Alrighty, we're gonna mark up. This is what we do to mark up so that we can frame price and we can identify where price, what is price trying to do? Where is it trying to go? Where is it going ultimately? Where is it going right now? And how can we position ourselves for a buy or a sale? So we have to be able to mark the chart up. So this is Sunday markup. This is Sunday markup. And we always start on a higher time frame so that we can see what's going on. So we do know on the daily that we are in an overall bullish trend. However, what is price doing now on the daily? That's the question. What price is doing now on the daily is in a correction. And this is where this trend line came from. And as you can see, price, every time price hit that trend line, it dropped, hit the trend line and it dropped. So price is in a correction, which means it's in a sale. It's in a bearish direction at this particular time. And so if you wanted to get into a trade, you would want to probably look at a sale because that's where price is going. Now, if you are a trend trader, then you will be waiting for a continuation for price to go back up to the bullish direction in the direction of the trend. So you have those options. No matter which way you go with it, you still need to know where to enter. You need to know what you're waiting for price to do. And the way that you determine that is by marking up your charts. So you can't get around marking those charts up. It's for your benefit, right? And so that's what we have going on here on the 4 hour. Now, what I like to do is I like to identify some zones as well. And these zones are potential areas of entry. These zones are particular areas of entry. And that is the reason why you want to mark them up as such. Particular areas of entry. Now, what I like to do is I like to identify engulfing candles for my particular areas of entry. And I like to do that in conjunction with psychological price points. Now, psychological price points are the price point areas that your banks and your government, your big hedge funds, these are the round numbers that they actually trade. So we don't want to go against the grain. We want to do what they're doing, right? We want to do what they're doing. And so when you are able to identify a zone that happens to be in a psychological price point area, that strengthens that zone even the more. Remember that, right? So we've identified that zone right there. And yeah, so we're still in there. We're still in there. Okay. And okay, so I have that on a 4 hour, and price has already broken this zone. So we don't want this zone. Well, for another drop, we'll keep it for another drop. So right now, what is price doing right now? We need to identify another zone. So here we go. When a zone has been broken or structure has been broken, it invalidates the move for that particular time. And you want to look for the next zone or the next area of structure. Okay. And that's what we want to do there. So that's why I identified this area here, which is also around my engulfing candle, bullish engulfing candle. So what does that tell me? Bulls are in this area. What does that tell me? We're in a demand zone. Now, it can be a strong demand zone, a major demand zone, or a minor. Now, I'm on the 4 hours, so I would consider that a major demand zone. And it doesn't mean that price won't plow through it. It doesn't mean that. What we do as traders is we identify probabilities that price will do this over that. And we do that by identifying these zones, okay? And so we have that. Now, I absolutely cannot overlook this area right here. This was a strong bearish move down, and it created a low, right? Well, it didn't close there, but price definitely have interest in this area. So we need to identify that, okay? And so now what I'll do is I'll go to my 1 hour. Now on my 1 hour, what we're doing here on the 1 hour. So I have my 4 hour zones right in here. and it's validated by previous structure. You always want to validate your zones. You don't just throw lines up and throw zones up. It needs to coincide. It needs to be strong, and it needs to have some strategic thought around it, i.e. psychological price point areas. My zones happen to be in those areas as well. And so that's why we do that, right? So it's solid. It's solid, as solid as it can be. So what we see now is that price has come into my zone here, my 4-hour zone, and we're pushing up. Because remember, we're in a demand area. Now, I am a color person, so let me put my color on here, because that helps me to keep my buys and sales registered the way that it's programmed in my mind. And if we look left, we see where price did enter into this zone in the past, and it pushed up out of it, right? And so that was support here. That same area came down, big, strong bearish candle came down and plowed right back up. Strong bearish area in this price point. And then so it was support here. Now it became, well, it was started off as a resistance here, right? Where price came up, it hit the zones, drop, hit the zones, drop, until it broke out, Now that is the key. So this area, this zone is a support area as well as a resistance area, which makes it even stronger. Price has reacted very strong, whether it was support or resistance to this area. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So what we're looking for at this point is for price to break out. Now, what price is currently doing, we're still in a correction here, right? So you can draw your trend lines if that works for you, right? So we're still in a correction here. Price is not broken above that trend line. We are in a demand area, right, where we can potentially see price push up break out of this zone. Now, what I personally like to use, once I have everything marked up and identified, I like to throw on a fib. I like to throw my fib on so that I can see where price is at in relation to my fib levels. And so what I'm looking at, well, obviously price is, is in a correction, so it's bearish. And so what we did was, at this point, we're at the 23, right? We're at the 23. So this is what gives me additional clarity. Whereas if I'm looking for price to continue in a bearish move, then I'm looking for price to continue to push down, right? I'm looking for price to continue to push down. Now, if price breaks above my zone, that's the first thing, and above the 23 on the fib, above the trend line on the fib, that's 3 confluences in a bullish direction. So I may be looking for price to buy up. So it has to give me indication of that, though. At this particular point, despite the fact that price is in a demand zone where buyers hang out, we're still bearish, right? So price can very well continue to push down, and that's what we'll be waiting for. Either way it goes, we're waiting for price to do what? We're waiting for price to break and retest. But you have to know what you're waiting for. And that's why you have to identify with your, and mark it up. So that's what I'm waiting for right now. We're still bearish at this point. And if price breaks this zone here and come back and retest the low of it, then I'm looking for price to come down to the next level of support. So this is the waiting part that takes place. Now, as far as that goes, you want to just drop down to your 15-minute, because you've done some due diligence at this point, and you can put in your alerts, right? You can put in an alert. Put your alert above right here at the 23. If price breaks above that, you'll be alerted, right? And also put your alert below this demand zone right here. If price breaks, if you don't get an alert, then you automatically know that price is still playing around in this area, an area that you're not going to trade, right? You set the criteria and wait for price to meet your criteria. And when you get your alert, then you bring in the remaining confirmations. Because even though price is solid, market structure is king, you do not want to enter a trade strictly on one thing, no matter what it is. So at this point, when the alert signals for you, you'll come back and then you'll look at your MACD. and you'll look at your trend lines, right? Or your moving averages. You'll look at that, right? And then you will determine before you enter into that trade, all of the confirmations need to be saying the same thing at the same time. And when you have that, it's go time, baby. It is go time. So I hope that quick markup was a benefit to you. And if so, go ahead on and like the channel and give me some comments and